Hey, what's up, guys? Talkin Sports with Pedro and Danny. We are here doing our second show of the day. We did a Battleborn Media Network's community highlight earlier. If you want to check that out, you can listen to that. There's some really good content. But now we're going to do the fun stuff. We usually toast with a beer, but I think Danny and... What do you got over there, Dan?
I got a tea.
Okay, so
I got a tea. We'll cheers.
We'll
have
cheers.
to start that.
We'll cheers to you have water too, yep. So either way, we always cheers to something. But it's been a really busy day, so I didn't really feel like having a beer today. So so we wanted to welcome Ashley from the Ship Group. Thank you for joining us. We'll be chatting with you a little bit about the Ship Group and about what you do with them. But before that, we were going to be talking NFL playoffs and some of the chaos that ensued last week, as well as some local youth wrestling, high school, travel soccer, all kinds of... There's even more to talk about as well. So, but that's what we're gonna start off with once we talk to Ashley a little bit. So, Ashley, we want to thank the Ship Group for supporting Battleborn Media Networks and Talkin Sports with Pedro and Danny. So, Ashley, thanks for joining us.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
So tell us a little bit about yourself and what it is that you do with the Ship Group.
Well, I have been with the Ship Group for about 6 years now. And I started as their transaction coordinator, and I recently, just at the start of the new year, has changed over to a full-time real estate agent.
Okay, what's a transaction coordinator?
So basically, when people go under contract, there's a 10-page contract that we have to follow. I make sure that all of the due dates and contingencies and all the legalities of the contract go through, following the deadlines and all that
other stuff Melissa was talking about last time. Remember we were talking about everything else that goes into it. And most people don't realize how much goes into it, because like I said, with Melissa, that most people think you just go out and you show a house and sign some papers and then away you go. But there's much more that goes into that.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things that happen from signing to closing day, which is about 45 days. So there's a lot of things.
And it sounds like from the people that we've talked to, both with the Ship Group and the Gaeta Group, that's kind of your guys' where everybody likes the advantage of the group atmosphere and working together, whereas before you kind of had to do, almost everything, but you guys split it up and it's a true team effort. So talk a little bit about how unique EXP Realty is and the Ship Group.
Basically, Ship Group has their own dedicated transaction coordinator for our agents, and so they're not messing around with anybody else's contracts or anything, and we just focus on our deadlines and our appraisals, lenders, titles, and all that stuff. We also have a dedicated marketing person, so then if you have a house to sell or list, then we try to get it out there as many places as we can.
So as a transaction coordinator, do you think that really helped you? I'm sure it did, but when you decided to become to get your real estate license, was that you probably pretty much already knew almost everything that was on that test? Is a test hard? I've always wondered that.
There's a test?
Yeah. It's not just, hey, buy this house.
No, I did. I mean, like selling cars, you got to go to the DMV and get, a car salesman license, but I didn't realize there was a test.
Oh, yeah, you got to get your real estate license.
Yeah, you're talking money and everything.
We weren't going to ask this, but we brought it up, so let's find out. What is the test like? What exactly is it testing you on, and what does it take to get it?
So there is multiple things. So there's like 5 to 10 disclosures per contract, and then the actual contract. So everything on like our duties owed or our disclosures, we have to learn and follow abide. So I personally went down to Las Vegas for 2 weeks, did a test or did classes all day long, full time, and then came back and did the testing here in Elko. There's a state and a federal test that you have to pass, both of them, in order to get your license. And so sometimes, yes, it's a while before multiple times that you test to get your license. And so you can take it until you pass, honestly, but it is pretty difficult just because they word it, they're tricky, they're state and federal regulated, and so it's very tricky to.
Is it like an 80% pass?
80% or more you get to pass.
How many questions?
I can't remember. I think total like 100.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. Wow. And so there's a huge packet that you get from the school, and you just go to the school, or you can do it online, or you can just video chat with them. And so you read through all these programs, you pass the schooling, and then you can take your state and federal classes.
So you had a real big advantage then, right? Because I'm sure a lot of the questions on there you had dealt with it in the past from your previous job,
right?
Your previous position. So yeah, I've always wondered that. I didn't know it. Yeah. So Danny, it's not just making a post on Facebook saying, "Hey,
dude, I knew there was a licensing process, but I mean, I didn't realize there was an actual test. I thought it was you go down and pay some money and sign here, sign there, and you get your license.
So yeah, Danny, we can't just go say, "Hey, let's sell this house." Like what I'm trying to do. This is a public service announcement, by the way. I'm looking for a Galaxy Samsung S9 cover. Me and Danny have torn this place apart, and I can't find one, and they don't make them. So if you have a
dinosaur phone case
yes.
laying around, probably in your kids' toy box, most likely. That's actually where I found one today. So I was going to bring it in, but I totally forgot. So.
Honestly, and we were talking about this before we went live, it feels like you're walking around with a piece of glass not having a case on it. So I need a case. I'll order one off Amazon, but if someone has one they can get me today, I'll drive over to you. I'll pay you. Whatever you want. I'll buy you dinner. Whatever you want. I just need a case for this thing. It's a Samsung Galaxy S9. I know that's off topic, but I had to throw it out there because I just touched my phone and I'm scared to touch my phone.
Yeah, I mean, my issues with my phone.
Oh,
so
damn.
Perpetual. But I mean, I had an S8 before I finally got a actual current 5G phone. But that thing was beat up, and I finally I got this phone for Christmas and tried to get it transferred over. Was having trouble, and then finally just completely shattered my other phone. So I just went ahead and sometimes you just gotta break down an upgrade.
I will if I have to, but if someone has a case, it has sentimental value,
You just need a case. That's it.
That's it. All I need is a case. I don't want to have to go buy a new phone. If it's a knock on wood, this one works fine. But yes, I do eventually need to get a new one. But okay, back to real estate. So okay, with real estate, what exactly what's going on in the market? With the ship group, what are you guys working on, or what are you working on? Do you have how's the market doing? Just anything that you want to throw out there as far as what's going on with the ship group and the market.
The market's going great. It's definitely not as hot as it was 6 months ago, but definitely when we're getting listings, they're going under contract within a few days above the asking price, and so definitely a good seller's market is what we'd call it. And so if you're interested in listing, get out of the equity that you have in there. Now is the time because housing is going up, the prices. And so then it's just a great time. If you have a chance, then just be able to do that.
Yeah, and we love kids here. We don't apologize.
Yeah, you don't need to apologize.
We have the queen, what we call the queen of Talkin Sports, which is Pedro's two-year-old daughter, right? Just over two?
Yeah, two and a half-ish, 2 1/4, somewhere in there.
Yeah, so she usually takes over the studio and does her thing. So
okay.
Don't worry. You want to come up with mommy?
Yeah.
Do you come up?
What was his name again?
Brighton.
Yeah, he can absolutely.
Yeah, we got some Reese's. You want candy? Danny bribes my daughter with candy, and I'm like, you're gonna be paying that dentist bill, dude.
That's a safety jacket.
You're talking
on there?
here.
You want to say hi?
Say hello.
Say hi. Hi.
Good job.
I like your jacket.
Say thank
You gonna go do some construction tonight? He's like, heck yeah, I got this.
Get my work on.
Okay, so anything else about the Ship Group? How can they get a hold of you? How can they get a hold of the Ship Group, or where can they find you online?
So our office number is 775-299-4123, and then we are on Facebook under Ship Group account, and so everybody is on there as admin, and so everybody has access to it. So if you have any questions, then that's the best direct way to us, or just call the office line.
So I have to say thank you to Dusty if he's watching, or if your marketing person, or maybe you can tell him. Yesterday, I totally forgot to. I had them out on the couch, but I forgot to put them in her diaper bag. I was out of diapers, and we were on a Zoom call. I ran over to the store and literally ran to the store.
Yeah,
and they don't sell them there. So I went upstairs and asked all the realtors, because I know you guys have your kids. I'm like, does anybody have a diaper?
Oh, man.
And Dusty Ship had he said, I might have one in my back seat. I might. Okay. So he gave me his key, because he was on the phone.
Right.
And he handed me his keys, and I ran down, and he did. He happened to have just one sitting there on the ground, and I'm like, thank you.
You're like, I will take
because
it.
she needed a diaper change. I would have had to leave the Zoom call if I would have had to run to CVS or something, because I totally spaced it, and I'm usually pretty good about that, but apparently yesterday I wasn't. So we've had a pretty busy week, so I'm glad. So thank you, Dusty, for saving me. I'll buy you lunch or something, because that really did save me. When I saw that diaper in his back seat, I was like, yes!
Yeah.
Got it. And he's a grandpa.
Yeah.
Right.
So
he's not
I
even
think,
dad,
right? Yeah. 2 different size options for you.
I just grabbed whatever. I was like, I don't care what size it is. If it's too tight, if it's too as long as I have a diaper, because she needed a diaper change. So I didn't want to have her be sitting in that. So okay, so anything else that you want to throw out there or talk about when it comes to real estate?
You got any hot houses that you really want to move?
Yeah.
Do you got any building projects? I don't know, just something.
Yeah, we have a new listing on Autumn Colors.
Okay.
And so it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and currently listed. Can't remember the price off the top of my head.
Is it a townhouse, or is it the houses?
It's a house.
Okay.
Yeah, and so it's a 2-car garage. It just got listed this last week. It's Julie Ridge as the listing agent. And so it's a super nice house, very well kept. So good house to.
And those are fairly new homes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where I'm not from Elko. Where's Autumn Colors?
Right across, pretty much, where I used to live, right across from Home Depot, pretty much.
And the Pack.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. The new subdivision up there
when you're driving
up
to the right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Copy.
So and a lot of those the houses are actually really nice. I have that's actually where our partners, Solis Auto, that's where they bought a house up there. They had a house built up there.
Copy.
So they're pretty. They're really nice house. I'm not going to give you my aunt's address, because she'll. Plus, you don't.
I don't know that people would want to go bother your aunt.
You don't want to mess.
Aunt can handle her business.
Oh, she can handle her.
We'll just leave it at that.
We love our friends at Solis Auto, but there's sometimes, like, if I'm running late or something, I'm scared of my aunt.
Yeah.
She keeps him in check. It's
that's a good thing, though.
Yeah, right. So if she ever decides to, she'd be a great assistant, and say, "Hey, you need to be there at this time." And,
she would.
And trust me, if anyone needs that, it's Pedro. So if there's anything else that you want to throw out there or chat about with real estate, or your son, I know he's looks like he's content now.
Yep, he's good.
He's like, no, I'm not.
Don't talk.
He's like, give me a microphone. I want to get in on this.
Let me see what's going on here.
So, we want to thank the Ship Group with eXp Realty for partnering with Battleborn Media Networks and Talkin Sports. Pedro and Danny and Ashley, we want to thank you for coming in. And anytime that you want to come in, or you have a listing or anything like that, you can feel free to post it share it to our page. Okay. You can also come on down and talk about it, or anybody from the Ship Group as well. We're happy to help. Also, too, any open houses or anything, just let us know and say, if we can help, we can help. If we're available, we're The Ship Group has been nothing but great to us. Same with the Gaeta Group. EXP Realty has been great to us. So we really appreciate you coming on. So if you want to throw that phone number out one more time, so in case people are looking for a home, whether they're looking to sell or buy or just have any questions about realty and or financing or anything like that for real estate, if you want to throw that number out there.
Yeah, we're able to answer any of those questions. Office phone number is 775-299-4123. And then Facebook is also an option under Ship Group.
Okay. So, Danny, do you have anything else?
Thanks for coming and spending some time with us. And like Pedro said, anytime you got something, you can feel free to send us a text. Say, I got this house. We need to get it sold, and we'll do what we can, except for taking tests. I'm not going to take that test. So you got to take care of all that. We'll just
I'll handle that part.
Okay, cool. We'll get the word out there for you.
I kind of want to see the test now because I'd imagine it's pretty hard. I've had friends who have tried to take it and they didn't pass the first time. Mm-hmm. So I'd imagine, like I said, you probably had an advantage because you've been in the business. Mm-hmm. But I mean, if I were to take it, I'm sure I'd bomb it. I'm sure Danny would too.
Like Chinese whenever you're starting to learn it. So, but you get it. It's like a second language to me now.
Perfect.
All right, Ashley. Well, we appreciate you coming in and go get your little buddy there some food. You want some dinner?
Are you hungry?
No.
He's got to go do some construction work.
Yeah. I got to go to work, man. All right, Ashley, well, we appreciate you coming in.
Yes.
And thank you again to the Ship Group with EXP Realty. You're more than welcome to stay. Okay. But if you want to take off, that's totally fine too. That's completely up to you.
Okay, I'll probably take off and give him some dinner.
Absolutely, I don't blame you at all.
All right, thank you guys.
Yep. Tell her to get you something good.
You ready to go?
Okay. You're all good. You don't even worry about having to duck or anything. You can just walk by and you're all good there.
Awesome. Thank you guys.
Hey, thank you guys, and you have a good night. See you, little stud.
We'll see you, buddy. All right. So moving on. Thank you again. That was Ashley from the Ship Group with EXP Realty, and we want to thank them again for supporting Battleborn Media Networks and Talkin Sports with Pedro and Danny. So. Danny, what do we have going on, man?
Well, I mean, we've got a little bit of stuff going on. We've we had our first leg of the winter-ish summer summit series last night out in Spring Creek. We had Elko High School basketball against Spring Creek High School basketball. So kind of getting that rekindled. Haven't had that for a while, and that's always fun stuff when you pack in a bunch of, football games are one thing, it's the amazing football games between Spring Creek and Elko, as you know. But you pack those school or those fans all into a gymnasium, and that makes it a little more wild, if you will. So pretty calm as far as the crowds were concerned, but got kicked off. Didn't get the JV scores, but Elko varsity boys basketball lit up the scoreboard. I think they won by 46 points there at Centennial Gym, and then the girls, it kind of flipped the script. You had the Spring Creek High School girls sitting at 13-1 on the season, and handled the Elko girls. So congratulations to them winning that first leg of the Summit Series, and then of course the Elko boys, which is constantly the class of the Northern 3A, if you will. Cletus has done a wonderful job with that program, and this he's had a couple of shots at a state title over the last several years. Probably realistically, the best shot on paper was probably during COVID, but he's got one son left there, and Dumas is also still there, I believe, and so they got a good squad. They're gonna look to make a run at that state title again, and I'm sure Cletus is super hungry after not being able to play for an entire season. So they're gonna play South Tahoe on Saturday here at home, and then next Friday they travel to Churchill County, which if you follow any recent history. And I didn't bring it up to Cooper when he was here the other day because we were trying to stay positive, but lost a couple heartbreakers in recent memory in the state finals against Fallon over there. So that's what we got going on in basketball, local high school basketball. There is some PAL stuff going on for the younger guys. But we do have some wrestling going on as well. Did want to give a little bit of a mention to Alonzo Lujan, Elko High School varsity soccer coach. Ran into him the other day at the taco truck and was talking to him. Didn't get any information right now as far as exactly what went on back, but he went to kind of a national all-star soccer deal down in Arizona and was able to help coach with that and took a couple Elko kids down there. So I don't want to screw up the details, but as soon as Alonzo gets those details over to me, I'll give a mention to those boys and what they got to do. And soccer seems up and coming, Pedro. I mean, it's, we've got Elite FC that's out there. There's, several travel clubs. AYSO, of course, our friend Robert's really involved with those programs. So it seems to me, and once again, I'm not from Elko, soccer's really became, I don't know that it's any more popular, but it's become more successful in the last 4 or 5 years. How history-wise, what does Elko High School, is there any local soccer history you can enlighten me on?
Well, soccer-wise, I know Ramon, who used to be the owner of Bill Toki. Actually, my next-door neighbor growing up, he actually made the paella for my wedding.
The what?
For Bill Toki.
That's where you say paella or something. What did you just say?
You don't know what paella is?
No.
How do you live in Elko and not know what paella is?
I'm guessing it has some ethnic touch to it.
It's a Basque rice. It's got chorizo in it.
What? Yeah, I probably don't know about it because you never have chorizo.
And sometimes it depends on who makes it. But Ramon, he's a great guy. Like I said, he was literally my next door neighbor growing up, and he actually donated paella when my mom when we did her memorial when she passed away. So Ramon ran a really successful travel soccer team. They would have to practice indoor because they would travel, so they would practice over at the Igloo. That was back when we were practicing for high school ball over at the Igloo. So Ramon was
baseball.
Yeah, excuse me. Did I say something else?
You just said ball.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So we'd be hitting in the cages, and they'd be over with his team. On the in the rink doing indoor soccer. I'm not exactly sure where they traveled or how they were structured, but I know he did quite a bit. But soccer is one of those sports that I feel for a while there was kind of neglected, right? To an extent. Not that people didn't play it, not that there wasn't coaches, not that there wasn't volunteers, but it. Now, like you said, now there's like 4 travel leagues that I know of?
Yeah, there's at least 3 travel clubs, and then how many teams are within that club? Because when Alex, from Elite sends over to us, and Alex is the one that donated all the meat, and we have he's got several programs, and he's showing 8U and 10U and 12U, and so there's just a lot of different soccer going around. So yeah, I was just kind of curious to see if the high school soccer, and it's almost to me like the early on in my existence in Elko, it's kind of how Elko the Elko Wrestling Club was treated. You had, of course, we just talked about the success of Coach Klekus. And the boys varsity Indians basketball club has done a really great job. And it just seemed from the inside that the wrestling was the other sport. And for whatever reason, I don't know what that is. But then you go over the hill and the script is kind of flipped. You've got wrestling. You've got what I'm still going to say is one of the best high school wrestling programs in the nation. out there in Spring Creek with what Barrett did, and of course Coach Pearson that's still out there. And then, the basketball was kind of like, oh yeah, and then we have basketball. So it's just one of those dynamics, and I think it comes with, the group of kids, the group of parents, that come up through the programs, and it's really important. It goes back to the youth programs, and if you have a good, solid youth foundation, like I call it feeder programs, then you tend to have a little bit more success if you can keep that continuity up through the high school program. So, and that's what Spring Creek has done with their youth wrestling and things like that. And Clekus, even, boys basketball, he's involved. I know when I coached my 1 year that I coached PAL basketball, Clekus was coaching too, and the draft. The way they did the drafting was kind of bullshit. But anyway, so you got the high school basketball coach with basically the cream of the crop kids, and they just ran over everybody. But he's breeding those kids at a young age, to be a part of his program, and hey, this is what we're going to teach you. And if there's continuity from the youth program to the high school program, then you're going to have a lot more success. So yeah, I was just kind of curious. I didn't know if high school soccer didn't seem like it was really that popular. And I think now it also comes to the amenities. You got the facilities. Since Adobe's been built, it's almost kind of right along with that. You can go back to when Adobe Middle School was built, and a lot of these high school kids that are successful kind of started back about that time, and that's where they play their high school soccer games. So I think competing for quality field time, is might have something to do with it as well.
Well, I think so too, because before, in high school. When I was in high school, they would play at Mountain View Park, the one right behind the dental place.
Yeah.
Which that actually used to be dirt.
Right. Yeah. That Mountain View Park has came a long ways too, and they still, with with the Spring Creek Jesse, and then with what they're doing with NYSA, I think I got that acronym right. So, with growing that program with AYSO and Elite and all these programs, you pretty much, it's like Little League season. There's only so many diamonds in town, and when we've got 35 Little League teams and 25 Little League softball teams, you're just basically trying to find a piece of grass to go hit on and do what you can. So hopefully we'll have some facilities open